putting cameras up and microphones. They got me sandwiched in. I want a nicer home. They know I take the risk. I don't know right from wrong. Unless any given day you might be gone.
Let's go back to this one. Let everybody cook at this bitch. Yeah? Man, it's cool.
Listen up.
Hold up.
Rain, I call it classic. Take your jaws off. Got a curfew, take it all off. Still a spray your nigga.
Yeah, no, I'm back like I never left. No, I don't know that. No, I'm back. I never left. I don't know that. See, before I even got released, I was on my money. God, come on, bro. Come on, bro. What's going on with this shit? Huh. Oh, this shit is weird to use, bro. Fuck. How to count, man? What? Go back. Fuck happened? trying to go there. Shit. Yes, why are you asking me this shit, bro? Just did this stupid shit. Forgot y'all probably seen a fucking email. Damn, bro. Alright, we good to go then. Okay. Alright, that's cool. Let's go home. Let's play a little Nipsey, my bad.
Calling all aspiring nurses in Coachella Valley. Kickstart your career with SJVC's accelerated nursing programs. Earn your degrees efficiently and affordably.
Yeah. 25-8, nigga, we do this shit, ain't no breaks, nigga. Live this shit. I am this shit, nigga. All that. They call me Young Nepsino, Rose Clico. Talking to my girl while your bitch give me deep though. Shooting at the world, dog, cause life is just a free throw. Shopping on Rodeo and some Dickies, that's my stilo. Played out pussy, please don't offer me no. If sex was a weapon, she could not kill a mosquito. Lil' mama lost her grip, pastrami round her pee-hole. Got too many miles, baby, that's a repo. Shorty's in denial, really tryna fuck with me though. I'm way out your league, so please excuse my ego. Diamonds on my Cuban link, my Rolex presidential. Penthouses and beach homes, Perrier and Patron. Told you way before about this baller shit I be on. Young Nipsey Hussle ain't some shit that you should sleep on. Rich before rap, had to let the streets go. Faith in my transition, I knew I'd be back in beast mode. Catch a case, that's the tradition. Either that or 6 believe no. Still somehow I understood that I could make the seed grow. And that one day that tree will bear fruit to feed my people. That one day is upon us. Grab your fork, it's time to eat, bro. Sloss and Nav, he's so rapper CEO. And if we all actors, I guess I'll be Al Pacino. And it was all laughter when they thought I was finito. It's not my Valentino, it's what I got up my sleeve though. LAX to JFK, then on our way to Heathrow. At the Polo Lounge in Harris, sipping cappuccino, spending pounds. Every purchase, man, this feeling has no equal. If you come from where I come from, it's rare that you see folk that did it like I did it, but I do it cause we need more. Cuban Gooden Juniors kill him with that submarine flow. Like every man of honor had to conquer, rob the Negro. Like Ginger in Casino, or that runway light in the heat. That shadow in the grass when Vincent shot him off his feet. In other words, life is just a fight against your disbelief. That's why I'm screaming I'm the greatest of all time like Young Ali. Play Muhammad to these false prophets in this industry. But I'm just me, catch me cruising solo in my 2CB. ENZ, or at the Roosevelt with Grandpa smoking weed. TMZ, flashing lights like Kanye album number 3. But I'm gonna be from RSC till the day that I DIE. So I crank my beat and hit the gas on them. Gas on them, gas on them.
Yeah. Come on through. It's Pack TV. It's Pack TV. Person after knowledge. I'm Pack 1. Today, we gonna be doing some shit that I seen the other day. Inception, I think. Evil Inception. Let's say, DNA. Mexicans. This is the what? This is the what?
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll go through your tax returns from the past 3.
Muting it. Yeah, so my name is Pac TV. I'm trying to do this streaming. Not trying to do, we doing this shit. I got music, Pac 1. Could follow it through, bro. Let me know how you guys feel about it. I love some feedback. But let's check it out. Let's check it out.
And use the term Mexican.
First and foremost, what this channel is about, I definitely want to be a voice for my people. Definitely want to change the perception of what Americans have of a Mexican. But this channel here is really based on knowledge. It's definitely for 3% man, definitely for the disciplined man, definitely for the masculine man, and the ones that's trying to gain knowledge and, you know, provide the best they can, provide the better version of themselves to their loved ones, their family. You know, that's what life is all about, in my opinion. But anyways, you know, so how it goes, Afrocenters daily talk about where the Mexican comes from and why they call us Hispanic or Latinos, and white people too, don't get me wrong. And however, you know, on this channel we might say something shit because I don't have a filter at all. I don't have a filter at all, but at the same time I'm aware of what we say. But anyways, let's get into it and see what you guys think.
To refer broadly to someone's race or ethnicity. This generalization is problematic because it oversimplifies and misrepresents the complex racial and ethnic diversity found in Mexico, among Mexican Americans, and throughout Latin America. Such language fails to accurately reflect the intricate realities of these regions. There is a widespread but incorrect belief that all individuals living south of the United States border are uniformly brown or share a common ancestry. This stereotype is highly inaccurate and overlooks the rich tapestry of cultures, ethnicities, and origins present.
And I love the fact that he said tapestry. Because life, that's what we're doing. We're weaving this tapestry we call life. And it's basically everything we create. So, just our origins. This video I found a little interesting. I did watch half of it. I didn't watch it all. So let's watch it with me. And please let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment, subscribe. First question is, who is defined as Mexican? So,
in Latin American countries. Understanding why this perception is flawed requires a closer look at the historical and social dynamics that have shaped these societies. Race in Latin America is a nuanced and multifaceted subject. Unlike in the United States, where racial categories are often more distinctly defined, though still complex, the boundaries between different racial groups in Latin America are less clear-cut. This complexity stems in part from the historical systems of racial hierarchy imposed.
That picture makes my blood rage, bro, when I see that shit. I see that shit and it makes my blood rage, and it always has. Since I was a little kid, me being Mexican, my father, my grandpa, they try to put me on horses and vaquero and cowboy boots and all kind of shit, and it just never was in me, never was in my blood. I always felt like the black sheep of my family, and if you want to, who's with me, man? Subscribe to this shit. Anyways, let's get back into it.
By Portuguese and Spanish colonizers. These colonial powers established social structures that encouraged individuals to identify in certain ways or to marry partners of specific classes or races. The legacies of these practices continue to influence societal attitudes and personal identities in many Latin American countries today. Acknowledging this intricate history is crucial for fostering a more accurate and respectful understanding of race and ethnicity in Latin America. By challenging oversimplified narratives and stereotypes, it becomes possible to appreciate the true diversity and richness of these regions. The hierarchical system used to elevate or demote individuals within the spectrum of racial subjugation in colonial Latin America was known as the casta system. This structure was a very...
See, and this is what I say all the time. This is why there's still Mexicans today that might be racist, just like there's white European descent here in America that are still racist because that's the way they grew up. That's the way these Europeans installed this caste system. You know, so even today there's still Spanish families controlling all of the wealth in Mexico. As of recent, the president of Mexico started changing that and giving it back, getting back into our roots and in our indigenous history, and celebrating our people who gave us independence from Spain or the Europeans. So, but my main intention of this video is to establish that Mexican was already a word, and no, we didn't speak Spanish, and we were Native Americans already here, and there were a tribe called Mexica. So they were pre-Columbus and they're pre-colonial. So just check that shit out. You know?
Of the South Asian caste system, which was also largely hereditary and based on class and family lineage, determining people's roles and statuses.
Let's go back,
These colonial powers established social structures that encouraged individuals to identify in certain ways or to marry partners of specific classes or races. The legacies of these practices continue to influence societal attitudes and personal identities in many Latin American countries today. Acknowledging this intricate history is crucial for fostering a more accurate and respectful understanding of race and ethnicity in Latin America. By challenging oversimplified narratives and stereotypes, it becomes possible to appreciate the true diversity and richness of these regions. The hierarchical system used to elevate or demote individuals.
This is the system that they actually created. You see, in the totem pole, of course, darker skinned people, we at the bottom, but the Spanish created that. Those are white people. Outside of Native Americans, which were Mexican. A Mexican now has mixed indigenous, Native American from Mexico, and unfortunately Spaniard, or same kind of way. The same way you see me, I have my beard, but yet I'm brown skinned and look indigenous in a way in what I identify as. So it's just what it is. The Europeans created this caste system. I still have homies today, or even back in the day, like, oh, hey, Mexicans don't like black people, or hey, black people don't like Mexicans, they're racist. There's these programs that we've been indoctrinated with. So that's what we're fighting against. This is what we gotta understand. My only beef with some people is that they trying to say that Mexicans wasn't here before Columbus. You know what I mean? Like somehow a white man and a black man made us, or a white man and a Native American made us. No, Mexicans were Native American. We had an empire. We had emperors, civilizations that were 30,000 years established way before America or the Age of Enlightenment, so to say. But this is the system they brought, and they defined us and changed our culture. And this is what we're in today, and still hasn't changed in Mexico or the United States. You know, you guys know it kind of works that way. If not, why would they ask for it? Why would they ask for your fucking race when you file a job application, or you're looking for getting a car or a house and shit? What's the reason?
Within the spectrum of racial subjugation in colonial Latin America was known as the casta system. This structure was a variation of the South Asian caste system, which was also largely hereditary and based on class and family lineage, determining people's roles and statuses in society. Latin America is commonly defined today as all the Spanish and Portuguese-speaking countries in North and South America. However, the term often has a flexible interpretation. If one were to ask the average US citizen about the location of Latin America, they might simply assume it encompasses all territories south of the US border, which is understandable given the geographical proximity. The region boasts some of the most racially diverse populations on the planet, with no single racial group comprising more than 40% of the total population. The first significant shift in the racial composition of Latin America began immediately after Christopher Columbus.
This man makes my blood boil, bro. If I could go back in time, I'll go and I'll snap this fool out, like straight up. And he's throwing the gang sign. People that already know, people that have been reading and been saying this shit, my YouTube family and all that shit, you know what he's throwing up. You know who he's working for or why he got the credit.
Landed in the Americas in 1492. Depending on one's perspective or country of residence today, Columbus is viewed either as a courageous explorer or a controversial figure driven by greed. Regardless of these differing opinions, the subsequent colonization and mass migration initiated by Europeans were truly unprecedented. This era permanently altered the demographic and
unprecedented. Imagine these same people, Europeans, are complaining about us today. Complaining about people that are here. Like, what the fuck is going on? And at that, they call them aliens. And you know why they put words on shit? So you feel better. Because if they say humans or children, you're going to feel some way. Life is all in the words. And what you say is what it's going to be. And I'm starting to realize that. So when you see all this going on, it's basically hypocritical. If they want documents, well, we want documents from them and where they come from. They should go back as well. Why do they get to be grandfathered in when most of our ancestors were already here before these European settlers?
Cultural landscapes of every region on the continent, country of residence today, Columbus is viewed either...
And hold up. Thank you to my wife. She brought me a bomb-ass plate. She made some like shrimp and rice last night and there's some leftover. Fire. Ain't nothing like a woman bringing you some food, bro. That's just how it is.
As a courageous explorer or a controversial figure driven by greed. Regardless of these differing opinions, the subsequent colonization and mass migration initiated by Europeans were truly unprecedented. This era
colonization. And then us people, and even black folks and Native Americans, indigenous, you come out here, we show hospitality. You know, we're love is the law. You know, love is the law. That's what it's about. But we all know who the problem is, so this is why I don't understand we're so divided between black and brown. We know who
permanently altered the demographic and cultural landscapes of every region on the continent. Even though the majority of Latin American territories achieved independence by the mid-1800s, the complexities of the casta system persisted, deeply influencing politics, culture and race relations in the newly formed nations. Although slavery was abolished relatively early in most Latin American countries, a substantial population of people of African descent remained in the region. Due to their historical association with slavery, they were placed at or near the bottom of the social hierarchy. Above them were the Native Americans or Amerindians, who initially made up a significant portion of the population.
If you've heard...
Did you hear that? They were placed or brought in this direction. And why were the darker skinned people put at a lower from the Native Americans if Columbus and all these Spaniards seen these guys already, if these guys were already here? Because they ain't never seen these copper looking people before. Let's go back. Sorry about that. So it's in the journal how I read it, you know. It's in Columbus' diary when he approaches, when he enters. What he clearly says it. He clearly says it that they're not more, or they're not what he knows to be African, or they call him Ethiopian or some shit like that. They were kind of labeled it in a way. He was saying they're copper people with fair hair and tall. You know what I mean? So again, why is the caste system made the way it is? Because that's the way the Spaniards lived. That they created this.
Settlers arrived,
What we call today,
and
you know,
many
the society
Amerindians
we
began
live in.
to assimilate into the burgeoning multiracial society. They gradually became a minority in their own homeland and found themselves near the lower end of the social ladder as well. Various groups of mixed-race descent, such as individuals who were half Native American and half European, or half African and half European, were typically positioned somewhere in between. They possessed more rights than the full-blooded groups mentioned earlier, but were still not at the top of the hierarchy. At the pinnacle were Europeans of Spanish descent who held the most privileges. Interestingly, within this elite group, those born in Europe were considered superior to pure-blooded whites born in the colonies where they resided. This distinction underscored
Even amongst themselves, even amongst whites, they still put people lower than them. This is where I say that superior mentality is what is at the main course of the whole deal. This is why there's poverty. This is why there's power. Why there's greed. You know, why there's envy, because there's a mentality of superiority. And what I'm saying is, shit, we all got. This is the knowledge we have to learn. This is what we're coming to realize as like people, I think, in this time and age. And my belief is as far as what I'm seeing in my
a
lifetime.
preference for European-born individuals over those of the same heritage born in the New World, affecting social standing and access to opportunities. The legacy of the caste system had lasting effects on Latin American societies. It established a complex social structure that influenced individual identities and dictated social mobility. Understanding this system is crucial for comprehending the historical and contemporary dynamics of race and class in Latin America. The Spanish colonizers not only established a strict racial
See, this is what I was trying to emphasize as far as like who created this system, the Spaniards. What are they?
hierarchy in their New World territory.
What was the system they brought over? They had it like this already when they came in. They created this other one to separate us within that mixed frame, you know, that you see here.
But also devised specific names for the new race.
If you see here, most of the homies that I speak to and Afrocentrics, they say that we started here. They say that people of mixed European and indigenous ancestries, that this is all we go back to. This is why they call us mestizos. But I disagree, you know. This is where I say there's different phenotypically of indigenous descent. Indigenous. And one of the key words is why indigenous was invented, although, you know, there's like KRS-One and Senator TV, and there's a lot of different platforms that these dudes say that indigenous means some other shit. But in Spanish, what Columbus called those copper-looking people, he called them indio. He called them indios. He called them indios as far as saying like those people are in God. Like God is in them. In Spanish, it sounds indio. But in English, if you think about it, he's kind of describing as far as the type of people that they are. And he was saying in their journal, he says, God is in them. So he called them indios. Indios. That's what he meant. That it was people with God in them. So he was describing it, and that's my opinion of what they say. But the definition would say otherwise. And like I tell you, now it's a Freemason game. Now it's secret societies that are keeping this framework that we're living in, you know? So let's get back to that shit.
Racial groups that emerged from intermixing. Individuals of mixed Native American and European descent were called mestizos, a term that literally means mixed in Spanish. Those who were of mestizo and European ancestry were known as castizos, while people of mixed mestizo and Native American heritage were referred to as cholos. This classification extended to dozens of different racial combinations, reflecting the complex social stratification the Spanish imposed.
See, the Spanish imposed. This is just the way, this is what resulted in Mexico today. So, like, you know, we can't help the fact that we still got a grandpa or God bless all the, you know, great grandpas and stuff like that. If they were more Spanish sided and, you know, their mother lived longer or their father lived longer and either one was more Spanish, they would tend to be more little racist, you know. And like I always tell my family, my wife always say, everybody's a little biased at the end of the day. Everybody is gonna root for what they look like, you know. But as far as this whole other end,
the Spanish were overt about their dominance in this system and made it clear that they occupied the highest social tier. This attitude of superiority can be traced back to the history of the Iberian Peninsula, comprising modern-day Spain and Portugal, which was occupied for several centuries by the Moors, a Muslim people of North African origin.
And this is what I do believe in. I always tell Afrocentrics, because even I got a little bit like Iberia Peninsula or whatever in my blood, as far as if I did my tests and shit like that. But what's the trip is what I do say. Look, the story goes that Columbus went to this guy's brother, and his name was Mansa Musa, but his brother had been there before to the Americas. And this is how Mansa Musa and his brother were collecting Spain. They were in Spain. They controlled Morocco. They controlled an area but they originated from West Africa. West or Northern Africa, they say. That's the debate, right? That's what goes on consciously, and how the Afrocentrics try to say that the Moors were already in America. Yeah, they probably traveled before Columbus, but then they didn't originate there. And that's what I say, because Columbus went to the brother of Mansa Musa to get some more info. So it only
the
makes sense.
The prolonged occupation, you know, by a reflecting the complex social stratification the Spanish imposed. The Spanish were overt about their dominance in this system and made it clear that they occupied the highest social tier. This attitude of superiority can be traced back to the history of the Iberian Peninsula, comprising modern-day Spain and Portugal, which was occupied for several centuries by the Moors, a Muslim people of North African origin. The prolonged occupation by a non-European, non-Christian group led the Christian kingdoms of Europe to unite in efforts to reclaim their territories, a period known as the Reconquista. This historical context may have contributed to a heightened sense of racial and religious superiority among the Spanish, which they...
And the Reconquista was them saying again, like, we're going to dominate and spread our race over indigenous and blacks, like, and the Moors were fighting that at the same time too. So
they carried over to their colonies. Moving beyond this complex history, it's important to understand how it has shaped the diverse appearances of modern Latin Americans. The region...
So there's a mixture, like, Mexicans were Native Americans, and now they have a mixture of Europeans, which they have a whole other mixture of fucking German, French, Spain, you know, damn, I can't even say it because they don't cross out the video, but we know who. People from Israel, all kind of shit, Palestine, whatever. And we have a mix now of Moorish or African descent, because it all culminated in a single point. For some reason, these people were coming to the Americas. And this is where I say that we were the last empire to have the knowledge of the ancient, of maybe the past civilizations that were highly advanced, you know, because we'll get all into that. This is just one video, but let's keep it in the subject. But
exhibits an incredible range.
I'm basically just trying to show where we're coming from, or where my mentality is coming from, as far as like as a Mexican speaking myself, the reason I may look away, where we have a mix of like, dude, it's everywhere, and that's what this video is explaining. So just to kind of get a basis, and we just start going from there.
Of physical features, to the point where members of the same family might appear to belong to different racial groups.
See, and that's crazy he says that, because me, my brothers, I have cousins, we look totally different. Like, I have another cousin that's tall, freaking dark, like, just, dude, from Honduras or Salvador. Dude, it's crazy, dude. You wouldn't think we're related. Then my brother, his son and all that, they look European, bro. They got, they're ginger-haired people, you know what I mean? Or just certain mixture. And I think that's all of us, you know? All of us can say that. Not one person right now, especially Americans, can say, oh, I'm 100 pure blood African or black or white, whatever. There's no such thing as black and white. You got an ethnicity, you got a race, you got a land in which you come from. And that's how God made it, in my opinion. You know, so
this diversity arises because there is no singular Latin American look. Instead, the population is composed of a multitude of racial and ethnic backgrounds. As previously mentioned, the largest demographic in Spanish-speaking Latin America consists of mestizos, who are of mixed Native American and European descent.
See, that's what I always say. The mass population in the South or North America is mestizos. Why would that be? Because it's indigenous people that populated, you know. And look, and as you see, it's a white man, and he took on a lady. You know what I mean? It's only natural.
They are followed by populations identifying as European, Amerindian, and African. However, these categories are fluid and overlapping due to centuries of intermarriage and cultural blending, making it challenging to neatly assign individuals to specific groups. The term mestizo is theoretically used for someone who is 50% European and 50% Native American. In reality, genetic makeup is far more complex because of continuous intermixing over generations. A person identifying as mestizo might have anywhere from 4...
Tell me that don't look like a Easter Island person, bro. Tell me that don't look like a Eastern Island ancient person.
50% to 60% European or Native American ancestry.
And I say that because I know that's from, I'm assuming that's Chile right there because of the llamas and shit in the back. I know what the fuck I'm saying.
Studies conducted in countries like Mexico and Chile have found correlations between socio-economic status and genetic ancestry. Mestizos of lower economic standing often have a higher percentage of Native American DNA, while wealthier individuals tend to have a greater proportion of European ancestry.
Did you hear that? That's not by coincidence. That's not by accident. They made it that way. This is why to this day there's Spanish families that collect most of Mexico's GDP or whatever they call it. They collect most of the money. If you notice, like me, my family is from Jalisco, and I have, if you notice down here in the bottom middle circle, and indigenous European or what it looks like, that's where they infiltrated mostly. If you see that, so we have a mix. This is why I look the way I look.
This intricate tapestry of heritage highlights the fluidity of racial identity in Latin America. The historical blending of cultures and peoples has resulted in a rich diversity that defies simple classification. Understanding this complexity is essential for appreciating the multifaceted identities that exist within in Latin American societies today. The complexity of racial admixture in Latin America becomes even more pronounced when accounting for significant populations from other parts of the world, such as those of Middle Eastern and North African descent. Surprisingly, Latin America hosts the largest number of people with Middle Eastern ancestry outside of the Middle East itself. Countries like Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and Mexico have substantial communities of Palestinians, Lebanese, and Syrians.
Hear that? And that's still a whole nother side of people. in Brazil that have Lebanese, Middle Eastern, Siberian, and that's crazy because I got some in my blood too. So it just tells you, it traces your origin or whoever indigenous person it might have been and who they mingled with traveling away, or it's amazing.
Surpassing the numbers found in Europe or the United States. Additionally, there is a considerable presence of East Asians in the region, particularly individuals of Japanese and Chinese heritage. Brazil, for instance, has the highest number of ethnic Japanese outside of Japan, exceeding even the United States in this regard. In Peru, up to 15% of the population has some Chinese ancestry, often integrated within the mestizo communities. Mestizos from countries such as Mexico, Panama, Colombia, and Venezuela may also possess a small degree of African ancestry, stemming from the relatively small number of African brought to these regions. The distinction between self-identified Europeans and mestizos is often blurred, making classifications challenging. Although rates of genetic admixture vary considerably by country and region, studies have shown that the average Latin American who identifies as white has approximately 75% to 85% European ancestry. The remaining percentage is typically a mix of Amerindian, African, or Middle Eastern DNA. This overlap leads to a significant number of individuals who could identify.
And we don't identify as white. They label us as white. Because if they don't, they'll be the minority. If whoever fucking gets across this video eventually, hey, that's the truth. And that's why they do
identify
that shit.
Either as white or mestizo, which explains the wide variations in estimates of the white population in Latin America. For example,
we don't choose. Like I always tell the homies, hey, I don't want to claim none of that white shit in me, bro. No disrespect to white folks. Hey, I partied with them before. Hey, some of the best parties I had, real shit, or best experience I had when I was younger. Y'all know how to party, that's for sure. But I'm just saying, like I'm not claiming that shit. Why the fuck I gotta be a mestizo? They conquered and they came in and colonized and did what they did. We all know how the story goes. That's not fair to us.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me in semi-passive income. Now here's the thing.
Fucked up. Yeah, that's not fair to us, bro. Like straight up, that's not fair. Let me go back to it, bro.
Identified whites in Mexico range from as low as 5%.
Like I always get this like that, or we're conversing on another level. It's always like, oh, you claim white or Hispanic. Like, fool, they don't give me a choice. I always put other. I definitely don't identify as one. You know what I mean? My bad, dude. Yeah, but I don't identify as one. It's just my first. It's a couple videos into it. We get it going, man. We're gonna throw it up. We're gonna see how it rolls out and let the seed be planted. You know, this is a lot of things that put in fruition. But anything to the point what I was saying, I always get dissed like that, bro. Like, oh, y'all claim to be white. We don't choose that shit. We're not identifying as like that way.
To as high as 30%, highlighting the fluidity of racial identity in the region. There remains, however, a large number of people of full European descent, especially in the southern cone countries like Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, and Chile, which received substantial numbers of European immigrants. Groups such as Middle Easterners, Jews, and Romani may or may not self-identify as European, depending on the cultural context and country they reside in. The situation becomes even more complex when significant waves of immigrants from Latin America arrive in the United States. The U.S. has traditionally maintained a more strict and limited definition of whiteness, while having a more flexible standard for those identifying as racial minorities.
Exactly.
For instance, individuals of mixed black and white ancestry in the United States often identify solely as African American, reflecting different societies.
Why is that? But yeah, like us, we have to be all Hispanic, not white. Hispanic from Latin origin. Like, why is that? Why is it that it could be a black dude and he's mixed, but he could be labeled, or he's already labeled as just one side? There's something going on there. That shit don't correlate with my mind, where it makes me question, like, what's the purpose?
Societal attitudes toward race and identity. In the context of the U.S. Census, individuals of mixed racial heritage often present challenges.
So my point being is, why can't I say I'm Native American? Why can't I say I'm Mexican American? That's really what I would want. And I said it here first. I've always said that, even as a kid, middle school. My teacher always said, Jonathan, you're out there, dude. You're talking about Mexican people being identified as Mexican Americans. Like, what are you? Not to say, and I didn't realize back then, but you just say these things, and we all have this inner knowledge that is just in us. You know what I mean? Like, you've been there. You know what you're talking about. As soon as
To
you start
conventional
trusting it.
classification systems. For instance, people who are half white and half Native American identify solely as Native American approximately 70% of the time.
Same shit.
This trend has historically puzzled census officials who were unaccustomed to dealing with large numbers of individuals with such diverse racial backgrounds. In response, they categorized anyone from Spanish or Portuguese-speaking regions of the Americas under the broad labels Hispanic or Latino.
And I can't stand that shit. So, like, what the fuck are we? Like, you guys are a race, but we're an ethnicity? Like, what? This is what I don't understand, what's on paper,
In
bro.
response,
My bad,
they
look.
categorized anyone
Even
from
messed the screen
Spanish
up with
or
my- I got a touch
Portuguese-speaking
screen, right?
regions of the Americas under the broad labels Hispanic
That's what that looks like to me. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
or
Like,
Latino. This generalization overlooks the complex reality of racial and ethnic identities, especially considering that individuals from Spain are included in the Hispanic group despite being
is-
European,
which is
while
crazy. Which is crazy.
people of Portuguese descent are often classified differently. The U.S. Census defines Hispanic or Latino as an ethnicity, not a race. While it allows individuals to select from primary racial categories such as white, black, Asian, or Native American, there is no specific option for mestizo.
That's me right there. Mestizo, I put Native American.
This term represents a significant portion of Hispanics in their home countries who are of mixed European and Native American descent. Although the census offers a
BS,
two or
bro.
more races option for those of mixed ancestry, this does not
They're
fully address
basically saying we're not like original people, but when we're the originals, like, how we not a race? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking about indigenous and people from Indios, like what Columbus was talking about.
the issue.
But
The majority of
to
Lat-
everyone else, they give them their little credit and their little boxing right there in race. But for us, when you go apply next time, you'll see that shit says Hispanic, Latino, and then some other shit, not white or non-origin, all kind of shit. It's like they separating us from everybody else. Like, what's going on?
Latin American mestizos in the United States do not perceive themselves as multiracial, but rather as a distinct race, mestizo. This is similar to how modern Central Asians do not consider themselves mixed race, despite having ancestry from East Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, as their gene pool has blended into a cohesive identity.
As Mexica or Mexican. It's funny they call us Mexican. Well, shit, that's probably why we're mixed with all kind of stuff. But doesn't necessarily mean we're not original people. We're indigenous Native Americans. That's where we come from. We don't come from the mixture of a white European and a Native American. Like, that's not the case.
Most mestizos do not view themselves simultaneously as European and Native American, but as a separate racial group altogether. This explains why only about 6% of Hispanics and Latinos in the United States select the two or more races category, Instead, many with mestizo heritage often choose the some other race option on census
I just said that earlier, and I just said that shit, and I didn't watch this shit.
forms.
For real, I'm finishing it
Additionally,
with you
some
guys.
may not be familiar with the term mestizo, instead using terms like moreno, which is commonly used to describe Latinos with darker skin tones.
Yeah.
The complexity
It's not a
of
bad
race
term,
and
though.
ethnicity in Latin America and among Latinos in the United States is indeed intricate.
But like that right there that you see these guys, the guitar, the bass, these guys dressed in this kind of like, even the cathedral behind them in the church, all that is European, man. It's European. We just mixed it with our own culture and cultivated something up. That sounds good.
However, this complexity underscores the importance of taking the time to learn about and understand these diverse identities. Recognizing this helps in appreciating why using broad terms like Hispanic, Latino, or Mexican to refer to someone's race is not only oversimplified, but also inaccurate. Please like and subscribe for more such videos. Thanks for watching.
And an insult, and can be disrespectful, and it can be demeaning, and this, it feels discriminated by, and I don't like to check the box, and I definitely never identified as Hispanic or Latino or something. I've always said something different in that sense. But again, my name is Pac1. Thank you for watching. This was a interesting video, and let me know what you guys think. Comment below.